Hello, hello. All right, testing, testing. I have to make sure. Okay, there we go. Okay, so how do I do this? Let me share because that's one thing I wanted to do before we got started. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, hello, hello. Oh my gosh. Can't even see my earrings. I wore bigger earrings so that you could see it against my backdrop. I'm really committed to the backdrop. I am so excited about our call today because I have so much to tell you. Where are my notes? Oh, geez. Oh, I know what I did. We have so much to talk about. Where, oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, so we are streaming on both Zoom and YouTube, so bear with me. I've got so many screens open, but we got this. Oh my gosh, how funny what I just did. Anyway, welcome to the Present and Profitable Masterclass. We are talking about the only advice you should take as an entrepreneur mom. And I have to be honest, it's because I am currently taking that advice. I'm taking my own advice and simplifying everything. And that's not even the advice I'm going to share with you, but I'm going to share some advice that will change the game for your motherhood journey and your entrepreneur journey. And you're doing them both simultaneously. Yeah, it's a big deal. If you are an entrepreneur and a mom, you're definitely in the right place. Or if you're aspiring to be an entrepreneur at any point and also a mom at any point in your life, you're in the right place because ultimately, it's going to feel like a juggle either way, no matter what age you are, it's going to feel like a juggle. And so constantly you are choosing one thing over the other. Okay. I know. Sounds crazy. Like, whoa, what would I possibly put ahead of my kids? We'll talk about it. Okay, so today's masterclass is super impromptu. Um, yeah, this is intuitively led. I will be honest with you. As far as preparation, I thought about what would be really important for you all to hear today. I wanted to settle myself in that in order to hear the message that you need most so that I can be that channel, that vessel for that. You can call it prayer, meditation, visualizing, whatever, grounding. I did all that to prepare for this call today. And I did get an answer. I would be honest. I have lots to say. Um, my goal with any of our calls or any of our master classes together is always that you walk away with 360-degree clarity. And I know that happens more so in like a coaching program with me because we need some time to uncover where your blind spots are, where you're maybe hoarding a little bit, clinging a little bit, gripping tightly, and you need to let go. That's what we're wanting to ultimately get to. But I do have a small agenda so that I can keep myself on track. I'm laughing at myself, by the way, when I laugh, because I know that I always go off on my tangents, but I promise we will get to why you came, the masterclass content. We will get to that. But anyway, there's a loose agenda. And if you put your questions in the chat, I will get to those too. Okay. Okay. And we only have an hour, so we definitely we have a lot to fit in. Now, when we think about the only advice to give an entrepreneur mom, we have to think about why is she looking for advice? What does she want to do? I had to think of myself, what is so important um, about this work that we do as both mother and entrepreneur, where it calls to us equally, our business and our babies. They're both our babies. But anyway, it calls to us equally that we have to kind of put in play some time management techniques. But even before that, even before we're selling things, selling offers, our products, our services, we've got to hone in on one really important thing, and that is trust in ourselves. And this goes across the board as a mom, as an entrepreneur, a service provider or a product creator, right? A creator, inventor, a leader in whatever way, right? In whatever industry you're touching, you're meant to touch. You want to show up as that, right? You want to give it your all, give it your best, um, and be your best. I don't know. Anyway, all of that happens. Well, that's all mindset. Okay. And mindset is so important for a mother. To do business without mindset is ludicrous. To do business as a mom without working on mindset, and I won't even say mastering your mindset, but just being present to your mindset, how you think in any given moment is really, really important. And I'll say that just from my own experience, because that's what I am witnessing, right? Kind of how thoughts become things. And so our mindset is just what we think, how we think, and when we think it. And that's all mindset. It's a it's a framework of thought, how we approach a situation, how we respond to a situation, what we do when we're feeling fear or anxiety or excitement and joy. It's those kind of like those built-in behaviors come from the way we think, our mindset. Well, anyway, something that I've been teaching for years and years and years is that it's mind first, right? So mind before matter, because thoughts become things. So mind before matter means that we can actually impact matter with our thoughts. And so at no point in our lives is that not the case. So at any point we are manifesting something. And the minute we fall into fear or lack or limitation, we are manifesting lack, fear, and limitation, more of the same. And when I feel like I'm reaping the results of more of the same, I know there's some level of lack or limitation or scarcity thinking that is consumed that area of my life. Okay, so are you following or are you with me? um what we think eventually becomes real. I have to read from my notes because I definitely want to land this with you before before I bring it back to our topic. um so why wouldn't we start thinking as though we are manifesting in all areas of our lives? I was an entrepreneur before I became a mom. So I was doing business. I was hustling when I needed to hustle. I really didn't have a lot of late nights, to be honest. But like, I was grinding, and I was like proud of grinding. And I think it's my perfectionism that made me proud of that kind of work. I worked hard and played hard. I feel like that, but not play hard in like the bro sense, but played hard like I enjoyed life, and I always did, right? I always feel like I do. But when I became a mother, things shifted. I will say I entered a crisis of identity like no other. I did not know how to immediately step into that level of identity as both. Okay, so there was a teeter-tottering happening of me kind of stepping into this mompreneur identity, something I very much want to do and still want to do and love what I do, that kind of thing. I had to quickly come to terms with, okay, how is all of this gonna work? I knew that I wasn't gonna know the how. What I could do was just focus on what I can control, and that was to let go of control of the things that really can't control. Outcomes for my kids, good days versus bad days, conversations at the dinner table, the energy in the room when it's not just my own, right? Who else is entering the home that's bringing in the energy? And everything just kind of like needed my attention at once, until I started to get a handle on, okay, that's not important. That's definitely not important. That could wait. And all of them what's the word I want to use? What I, what, anyway, let me not go there. Let me not go there. Let's stay on this idea of where I found my priorities. When I found my priorities, I definitely felt like that my path was made clear as both mom and entrepreneur. Um, and that means I was able to occupy the driver's seat again, right? Not, yes, definitely we are observers in this lifetime. We want to observe ourselves, right? Having these human moments and also be the spirit that hovers above and just kind of, watches on and is self-aware of everything, present to what's happening as we live out our movie. Well, anyway, anyway, I'm bringing my analogies around. But I got back in the driver's seat because there have been times when I was letting other people drive. And it's not bad to let other people drive once in a while. I mean, we ask for help, we need support. We're not doing this alone. So there are people we put in the driver's seat and we kind of just observe what they're doing and take note of the land and where are we and look at those street signs, things you can't ultimately do if you're driving, right? You got to really tune out a lot. Well, I was in my let me look around phase early in my postpartum journey. And I was in the look around phase because I really wanted to be present. And that was the most important thing. And everything else had to fit in somewhere. And I just wasn't finding place for it, including my mental health, that postnatal depletion and postpartum depression that definitely came over me after my second son. Getting through that was like another thing. But anyway, as you're new to being a mother, you're face to face with so many things that like have to compete with you being a mother. And it either wins or it falls flat, right? Dirty dishes fell flat. Tidying every single day or just getting I think what I had to sacrifice is maybe having a super tidy mail pile, the mail that has to get attended to, but it's like, I can wait. That can get out of hand. We can get that definitely went to the back of the list, or I should say the bottom of the list because other things, other more important things. If my kids are home, I want to be there or around or available, especially as they're babies into littles and move to, well, toddlers and then littles. I put them all together, littles. And we let everybody else drive for the things that maybe aren't as important. We kind of let them do their thing until we start to, till our bandwidth starts to allow for us accommodating more driver seats, like us taking account for where we're going and the direction we're going in all different areas of our lives. I'm getting to it. Stay with me. As we move through our lives, right? Our parents are driving at any point because we're kids and we don't know. So we're just letting them drive, just like we see as mothers, our kids let us drive 99% of the time until they start to come into their own and their own awarenesses and they cling to these ideas of independence. And the more we allow that, the more they get of it, the sense of independence and making their own decisions and having a say in the household, things like that. So our parents at one point were driving the bus or driving the car in the driver's seat. And then our husbands, then our classmates, maybe, right? That whole adolescence phase, it's the peer pressure, things like that. Then our bosses, I mean, and the list goes on, right? And we're catering to, in some way, shape, or form, these drivers of our car, of our vehicle, until we come back into the driver's seat. So all that to say that we have people pleased our way to the bottom of the list or to the back of the bus. And that's innuendo intended. But immediately you feel the pressure of like people pleasing your way through life until you become a mother. And I witnessed that in how much less people pleasing I'm able to do or willing to do so that I could be the mother that I want to be. Because I do often say all the time, like I really, probably this is a hill I'll die on. If it doesn't help you be the mother you want to be, it doesn't work. Because motherhood has just presented you with the priority of a lifetime. It's going to be with you forever. And the degrees to which you can feel like you can affect some sort of change and maybe control as much of the outcome as possible starts to wane, right? And the degree of that, your ability to control your kids starts to kind of lose its efficacy. And then we're kind of empty nesters at one point. But I mean, they just never really are gone, right? And so when you think about that, it's kind of okay, I get it. Now, when you step back into the driver's seat on your motherhood, you're going to know that, okay, other things do need boundaries. I want to be the mom I want to be. For me, that's present, patient, and available. I want to be that mom until my kids are really self-sufficient and they're doing their own thing. But I want to be that present and available mom for them as much as I can. Now, that on the flip side, I also have the business, a business I very much care for and love and have been running for years. I've been coaching for, I mean, longer than my kids have been alive. I'm gonna throw that out to them one day. I've been a coach longer than you've been alive. I'll be like, oh, whatever, mom. Okay, hold on. Let me finish. Okay, so here is why a mom needs to get back in the driver's seat when it comes to both business and motherhood, because you're gonna have all this happening with your kid, and then yeah, you're empty nester. So there's kind of like that camp of like empty nesters wanting to start a business because like, what else am I gonna do? And then there's also like, I'm new into my mom journey. I just delivered this baby, and how am I going to provide and protect them and give them the world like I want to? Then our creative juices really get spiked during those times of transition. And it's like, okay, what am I going to fill my time with? How am I going to fill my time? What is the most important thing in any given moment to do right now? It's a constant question. It's a constant question. You're constantly weighing your options. Well, that's a mindset game. Okay, so that's this is a war in your mind when you're choosing between one or the other thing. At any point, you are a business owner or a mom. Granted, you're the same person, and so you seep into both. So you don't want to be like bringing your drama home and vice versa to work. You want to try to compartmentalize and be your best in any given situation, and you can do that. That is absolutely possible. Don't worry. We'll get there too. I'll help you with that. But you're also okay. So you're doing that as a mother. You're doing that as a for your clients. You're constantly okay. How can I show up best for my clients? Um, in that same way, right? We going back to how we're manifesting with our thoughts, where thoughts become things, and how our thinking goes for any one area. We don't want to lose sight of our kids as like manifesting for them because we want the best for them. And so we see the best for them instead of all the doom and gloom around. We want to be able to see the best for them and them being their best and fulfilled. The more we visualize that, the more they'll experience that because it's part of our greater circle, right? It's part of our manifestation. And so it absolutely follows that if you believe for them that they're going to be okay and they're going to be great and happy, and then you will continue to see that opportunity to be that for them in every situation, meaning you'll see that that's the reality in every situation for your child, just as you want to do that for yourself, just as you want to do that for your clients in your business. You want to imagine what's possible in the good, right? And in the way that everything works out for the best. You're also kind of in that toggling between what could go wrong. And so you want to be powerful in that regard, like able to deal with whatever could go wrong. How do I provide and protect in those situations too, right? So there's always this balancing act that we're doing mentally, and that's the mental load. That's the pressure that we put on ourselves. Now, all that's happening, right? And we aren't even talking about running the business or running the household and all the mechanics that go into that. That's another load added to it all. So when you think about like, whoa, and this is a revelation I've recently had, where if you go about everything with, if you if you are a hammer, every problem is a nail. Like if you come at it with hustle, then you will have to continue to hustle to get through it. And then everything just begets more hustle because you believe up until this point, because we're people pleasing our way, right? So we're thinking that I've got to do all this for other people in order to survive, or in order to make it, or in order to feel validated or accepted, or welcomed. It's kind of, I'm doing all this for other people. Well, that really that becomes very questionable, you living like that as a mother, right? Because then you're like, okay, I really need to hone in on my own maternal instincts and guide myself in raising this child, because that's really all I have. Like, I don't always have you at the ready on my phone. I can't call you up. And even then, like, where is that leading me? Is that leading me away from or along with my own intuitive sense about the situation, right? And so we can't afford to do business like we used to. So, like I used to, just moving and grooving and getting up when I wanted to and whatever, and just living the life. I can't do that anymore. It feels so different. It's like motherhood is so messy. But I can't just live like that. Now it's like, whoa, I have kids who not only are watching me, but also expecting me to like have some direction and make a way and make a home and make a life together. And so they're just like waiting for us to do this. And so if for me to hustle in my life while all that is happening is just crazy to me. Like, just no, no, thank you. No. So long ago, I decided against that, not to do business that way and to do business differently. And in order to do business differently, I literally had to reframe things. I had to reprogram and newly manage under new management in my mind, because I needed new thoughts. I needed new beliefs. I don't want the belief that I have to hustle and work late nights and work every day, all day, even though my kids really need me, doesn't serve me. What serves me is I flow in and out of each role with ease. I move and flow, like my workflow is light and easy and effortless. I feel really inspired when I do work, when I do my work in the world. That feels better immediately, because then it does avail me to being a mother. And I can carry that same energy into being a mother, because that energy also serves as mother. Being present and available and patient with my kids needs me to be calm, cool, collected, um, as much as I can, really moving with my maternal instincts, staying tapped into my instincts. And for me to stay tapped into my instincts, it really is kind of like on a daily basis, staying informed, right? On what matters to me. What matters to me is keeping them healthy. What matters to me is schools and the quality of schooling and safety, friends, family, social interactions, adventures, travel, vacation, all of the experiences, opportunities, sports. I mean, all of these things, right? Athleticism, moving your body, knowing that's also an option. It's not just being indoors all day. No, let's get in the dirt. Let's look at dead bugs and dissect them. Let's do all those things. This is the point, right, of childhood. I call myself the advocate for childhood because I do feel like it's changed. It's changed. And I know a lot of moms are with me on this, where it's like, we do want our kids outdoors, and you're an 80s baby and you're just like, yes, let's get back outside and on our bikes. This time we'll put helmets on them and seatbelts. That was, how early were seatbelts required by law? At what point were seatbelts required by law? To think, right? That we're just sliding across my dad's bench seat in his GTO, like just sliding across from one parent to the other. Oh, geez. Kicking the stick shift. At one point, I kicked the stick shift. Oh, geez. In the front seat. Anyway, so what I refused to do was not create a job for myself, not create another job, which is why I left corporate in the first place. Is that I just don't do this. I love cubicles. It's fine, because I might one day have cubicles in my office space for my team. Maybe not. Maybe they're cooler than that at that point. Maybe there are acrylic glass Who knows? But all of these things can still happen even though I choose to not do it by hustling. See how I've made it so? So we can't make anything easy unless we deem it to be easy, unless we decide it's easy, unless we first made the decision to make it easy. And that is always a decision comes after the thought of, okay, this can be easy. All right. Um, I mean, it's it has to be easy because I literally go from mom to hopping on this call. I literally was on my phone before this call, putting my kids' schools, their summer school programs, their summer camp programs, the numbers into my contacts to then add to my favorites. I have an iPhone, so that the call from those places can get through my do not disturb. And not only was that a strategic business move because I need it on do not disturb, so don't call me. I'm on a call right now. I'm unavailable, but not for, if it has to do with my kids, I really do want to know. Um, single mom here. I don't really have like them calling the other parent at this point right now so much, or it's not that easy for him to just be a hop, skipping away. Should there be an emergency. But anyway, yeah, we have our emergency contacts. Anyway, I digress. The point is that was a strategic business move to go on to do not disturb so that I can have like my focus here. It also was a strategic mom move because I want to be there for my kids. And so see how they just both kind of just run into each other like water. I made this point too in my notes because I'm looking at my notes. Um, because we're all still moms, right? And even though we're in suits or on Zoom calls, like we're still mothers at the end of the day. So I have to be proud of how I'm showing up in both, right? Because I want to be proud of myself as an entrepreneur in front of my kids, and I want to be proud as a mom in front of my clients. Maybe there's the synchronicity there is that I'm an example to both, right? And what I'm living proof of what I teach, right? That's what I want. That's what I want. I'm literally I'm going through the motions of doing this myself and seeing what works and immediately making change, right? To the point where guilt is a far cry from where I was before. Mom guilt, feeling maybe pressed for time or just poor time management skills. I didn't really know what was important or where to go, what to do. My energy constantly being tested or pulled from me. I've got my energy right back as far as like, I know what I'm doing when I can do my transition from this role to that role with ease. I feel like I'm present for it all. I'm available, I'm here. And I'm being patient with myself through the process so that I can be patient with everyone else. It really does, one does really feed the other and vice versa. So now that we know that, right, as just human beings on this planet, we know that you can't separate yourself just because you're in a corporate building from the person who's at home, right? You might think you can, but there's some seep over, right? There's something when you start to make friends, you start to talk to each other about these commonalities, and then you realize, oh man, we're both homebodies. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with somebody who we just end up all being homebodies. So we're not really going out all that time, but we love to just like come back home and do things. And so it ended up being that we loved getting together at each other's houses and just be homebodies and like lounge and be just chatty. Anyway, so you kind of find your tribe, right? Because you're being yourself. And imagine how big that tribe can get when you really are authentic on all levels, in all places, in all ways. And so I am a mom on a mission. I am choosing every single day deliberately to work on what I love to do most. What brings me joy. I'm following that direction. I'm literally following my bliss. I'm literally doing the work in the world that I feel super, super connected to. Not that I didn't before, but as a mom, it's just so different. Not uh not that so much is weighing on it. I just feel like I have a bigger message. Like I just um this impacts more than just me. It's moms everywhere. So I really do have that call on my heart. And so because of that, I'm walking the walk, right? I'm talking the talk, walking the walk. I'm choosing what feels better in every moment because, and I'll read it, not just what feels good, but really what feels better, because I do believe that there's only good that flows. So I do believe that we're presented so many good ideas, but we aren't acting on all of them all at once, right? So at any point, it's kind of like, okay, which of the two am I going to choose? And for me, I'm just kind of called to that even better, even bigger, uh, kind of more expansive idea. And so that's what I'm following. And you probably feel that way too. Like if you are looking for like, oh man, one up, because you're the glass half full type of person like me, because you see already kind of the good that flows in the world, and you want to bring about more of that change. Um it's not a doom and gloom message for you. It's one of power and encouragement. So if you have that message, then you probably feel me here. um so how I'm going about that is I'm just in every situation as mother or entrepreneur, I'm choosing that, right? I'm choosing that for my brand. I'm choosing that for my babies. What feels better, what feels greater, what feels more expansive, more freeing, and therefore more true to me. And that's how I'm going about this. Because at any point we are trapped in fear. At any point, we're choosing. Yes, it feels like it only good flows and that's all good and rainbows and butterflies. And then also we have days where we're just like full of fear and it's stressful. And how are we going to get through this? And there's a big emphasis on human survival, right? Us just making it through this. Like, what are we dealing with? It's the complete unknown. I'm sad about this. I'm terrified of what it's going to require of me to show up in this ways to get through this, right? So there's that, also that. There's kind of the underbelly of what we're bringing to the table is kind of that fear and that trepidation and that hesitation. Um, but even then, we're able to find the goodness there too, right? The silver lining. Uh, that's kind of what I mean by that. But I'm also choosing beyond that, I'm choosing for the long haul. So that's a totally different game. If you're thinking legacy, not just business, then it's a different mindset. This is a whole different ball game. If you're thinking building a legacy, you're considering what your kids will have when you're gone, what the world will remember about you when you're no longer here to defend yourself. That's a totally different mindset. This is a totally different level of playing field, right? Like level, yeah, it's just it's a different way of being. And so you feel like, okay, I'm called to that. And then all the while, like I've got babies who depend on me, right? The mantle, the mantle can get heavy. And this is the deeper side of business, is like, what does it say about me? And how can I show up? And what do I do here in this moment? And sometimes nothing. We do nothing. Um, I know it's because I'm a mom that I'm more patient probably than ever before, because I have wanted to lose it on my kids. And I just watch myself wanting to lose it and just being like, "Ugh, but I don't have to. I don't have to lose it on them. Like, what would that do? Nothing. It would make the situation worse. Like I literally know that that will be the adverse effect. And not only that, whatever I say in that intensity will be their self-talk later. So I just want to choose my words wisely. I want to come into a situation already being the energy I hope to impart and experience in return. Peace, joy, you know. But I've been through things, right? Like entrepreneurship. Yes, beautiful, lovely, amazing. Marriage started out great, really great. Then divorce. In that time, kids, and all of that was another challenge to kind of, okay, how am I going to present myself? Um, who am I in this role? And it taught me all of that to date has taught me that I want to claim everything I want in this world and not just sit idly by watching it happen. So I'm back in the driver's seat as a mother and entrepreneur. And I know where I'm going. I know the direction I'm going. I know when I know when I'll see it. Like I know the signposts along the way. And I know it's what I've been working toward when I see it. Like I just know because I've already envisioned having it. And so it's kind of like just confirmation along the way. And this is where the only business advice comes in that you came here for. The only business advice that a mom should take is to trust those instincts because everything around us is going to pull us in all these different directions. But if we stay clear, even on the down days, we stay clear on the direction we're headed. Even if we reduce our speed, we're clear on where we're going. And we don't always know. We just have our headlights, 2 meters in front of us. We just see that far ahead in the observed world, in this physical state, this physical plane. We only see like, a couple feet ahead. But we know that God's going to always just provide. The road will be there. You don't drive from San Diego to Atlanta thinking that the road is just going to give way when like there's just going to be no road to get you there. You know for a fact you can actually take a plane, train, or automobile to get there. And you trust that you'll get there. In fact, you probably saw pictures as you were planning this trip of how Atlanta will look and what you'll do there. And you're lining up all the restaurants and the hot spots that you want to get to. And then see how that just makes the vacation that much more real and fruitful and manageable and peaceful and enjoyable because there was a little bit of prep. But I choose to see even the lack of prep is really fun, like just going and figuring it out. Like, whoa, where are we? And asking everybody where should we go to eat? And we're in this area. What do we do? Posting on Facebook, seeing who lives here. Let's meet up. All those things, right? Like that's also good. So neither are bad. Do you see how it's just all how you deliberately moved toward a particular outcome? I'm deliberately choosing not to plan for this trip because I have other things to do. That's the choice. Okay. You didn't plan for this trip or this vacation or whatever. All you did was buy the tickets and you're like, okay, I don't even know where we're staying. Then, that's a choice. And it's fun. It's probably not as fun with kids, but it's a choice and it's, a great one to make sometimes, do both. But, as we start to kind of like move into this unknown and then we feel the fear and we're like, okay, what am I doing? Then we know we've lost sight of like the fact that the road is always there. As long as I know where I'm going, I know I want to get to that destination. I have clarity on what I want, how I want to feel, what I want to be, what I want to see, then we can manifest that to be our reality. So this is us back in the driver's seat in both regards. So as mother with our kids and as entrepreneur with our clients, with our customers. It is a whole different mindset to build a business than to build a legacy. And I understood that when I knew that to be in my priority role as mother, I had to preserve my energy for my kids throughout my day. I couldn't just run myself dry and then expect to have the patience and the availability and the presence and really honestly enjoy time with them if I ran myself to the bone beforehand, right? And so if I'm going to pick them up after preschool, daycare, whatever it is, school, then I've got to do kind of a state change. And I've got to see that, okay, as mother, I'm going to crack a few mom jokes and see if they come out of their shell and tell me about their day. I'm going to be creative about yet another way to try to get my son to actually tell me what he had for lunch. We try. It's a labor of love. But I understood that even more so, right, as an entrepreneur turned mom, and then even more so as a mompreneur turned homeschooling mompreneur. So now I'm homeschooling one of my sons. And so I really have to get my priorities in check. I really have to know how to use my time well, right, and wisely. And lead with doing what I love, because anything else would be, in my opinion, a waste of time. If I'm not doing the things that I love to do and watching that be what grows the business, then what am I doing? I want to do what I love to do, where I'm in the driver's seat, right? Of manifesting this legacy. I'm in the driver's seat. I know what I want, and I guess the impact that I want to make in the world. I know that. Then that's what guides me forward. And then I get soul confirmation that, okay, this is actually going to move you in that direction. I have a little activity that will help you in this. So just note that if you're here, you're going to get a little, it's not a journal prompt. I'm just going to give you some food for thought, but it's going to be enough to help you kind of, okay, let me shift a thought here. Because I know that if I can shift a thought in this area of my life, then I can be a better entrepreneur, a more simplified, less complicated in my business dealings, and how I can find that I'm doing the same kind of hustle when I don't want to do that. So if I don't want to hustle, why am I hustling? If I want less fear and more freedom, then why am I spending time in fear? How can I create more freedom? And that is a deliberate step, a literal shift away from thinking that old way into thinking this new, better way, lighter, freer way. And I'll be honest, this masterclass is evidence of that, because I'm moving with what's easy, what feels easy for me. I want to follow that, because easy means I can get it done, no problem. I'm inspired to do it. It feels like work in the right direction, not hard work. Notice how I'm not saying the word hard work. I do believe that's part of, I'm actively ridding that from my consciousness, this idea of hard work needing to, hard, hard work being what creates success. I think there's another word for it, because I feel as though I'm doing it. And I do believe it's just working deliberately toward where I want to go. So at no point does that ever feel like a burden. It always feels like I'm living on purpose. And that's my job. That's my job, just to do what feels good and inspired and fun, so that I can bring the best of myself to the table, because that's who I want you to see. Okay. If I'm doing anything else, then maybe I'm chipping away at the best of myself, bringing that to the table, right? Then there's a cost, and I'm playing the game of choosing which one that I want more immediately. And I'll be honest, I want more freedom immediately. I want all the things that make my motherhood journey easier immediately. I want systems that work for me, which means I can be asleep and be making money. I want systems where in my business, that flow, and people are moving through, and I get sales notifications on Stripe. I love that. I love being at the park with my kids and getting a notification on my phone that I sold a course. And I didn't, in an evergreen course, so I don't even have live support on that one. And I'm just selling the thing. And it's just like, okay, this is what I built. This is what I'm doing this for. um, and also, if you think about that, you don't want to be spending those fleeting few hours that you have maybe by yourself on things that don't move the needle. So then it really is, okay, well, what is the most important thing to do in my business if I only have 20 minutes a day to do it, because I got to go pick up my kid from daycare, or I really only have nap time to do this business. So I've got to be really specific about what I spend my time on. And I can't just get lost on Netflix. I can't just get lost scrolling on Instagram. I cannot do that, because I don't want to do that. I'm not putting restrictions on myself. More so, I'm just moving with what feels better. And if I did have a Netflix binge day, that's all well and good. It's not my MO right now, right? Having those kind of Netflix binge moments is just kind of like, it's scattered where it fits in, and I get my feel, right? I make it work. I feel like there's like a hierarchy of needs as a mom, and you just move through your hierarchy. to make sure that you're giving everything its time that you need, just as a human, as a person. But on a given day, you might only have 20 minutes to yourself to do something. Well, what are you going to do? Right. And that's 20 minutes that could still be propelling you forward. It's not the same for everyone. It really truly isn't the same for everyone. Just because a course creator is telling you do this and this and that doesn't mean this and this and that is what you get to do right now, right? That to be in your highest ultimate self. Notice how I didn't say need to do, because, that's the first thing to get rid of in self-talk. As far as us being business owners, what I need to do this, I have to do this. There's such a pressure. And who says, right? And then are we people pleasing? Is that have we just created another need for ourselves to please yet another person that isn't our kids, that isn't me, that isn't my partner? Like, you know what I mean? If that's still the dynamic and how that's working for you. I just know that I chose to stop putting on a performance long ago. And when I recognize that I'm performing for others, I'm like, oh, doesn't feel good. No thanks. Um, so anyway, as I'm moving through this and how I'm helping moms right now, mompreneurs right now, as I'm moving through this, I recognize immediately like what are keeping mom stuck? What's keeping us in the struggle of the juggle? And I can identify it immediately. I mean, I've just been in this too long at this point to not see it pretty immediately. And it feels bigger than me. What I have slated for next year is exciting and beyond my wildest imagination. And it's just I'm just kind of meeting the people that are helping it come true, and really lifting a lot of the labor off my plate. If I approached motherhood or entrepreneurship like I have to do it all, then I would just be drowning. It'd be more of that kind of a saying of just drowning and not asking for help and doing everything, or thinking you have to do it all to have it all. I realized there was error in that thinking. And so I changed that. And I'm stepping into, like, I I I I've asked for help a long time ago. I don't even have to ask for help anymore for the doors to open and the people to come and lend a hand. When I need it, it's there. And I guess need it meaning like before it's a problem. Like I anticipate the need, like we do for our kids. I anticipate the need, uh, and it's not even a problem before it gets solved. Did that Did that put a bow on that thought? Anyway, okay. Um, Back to the few minutes a day. So we have the 20 minutes or the 2 hours in our day as mom because we want to get back to being a mom. So we're either hiring out the grocery shopping or we're doing it ourselves, right? There's a choice. We are doing the dishes or letting somebody else do the dishes. A choice, an agreement, right? If there is that some other person, that's an agreement. I love agreements where I'm hiring somebody to do it. I love it because I literally am paying you money, so I'm literally going to tell you how I want it done, and I will QA that to make sure that I'm getting my money's worth, that I got what I paid for, or I'm getting what I paid for. Like I really am a perfectionist in that regard too. But that definitely feels more manageable than doing it all myself. So things, motherhood definitely changed my business. Business looks different. Yes, not only because I had to create systems and simplify everything, but also like my mission just feels like, whoa, the magnitude of my reach now is so much more important. It's one of my priorities, right? Because not only am I um, talking to moms and helping them to rethink business, I'm also modeling the behavior that I'm honing for a better life for myself, for my kids. to ultimately live a healthier, happier, whole life as well. They're constantly watching us. They learn first from us, their parents. So at no point are we not sending a message. And at no point are they not receiving a message. They might be interpreting a message, and hopefully you can close that loop and make sure they're interpreting, your actions. If you have any question about what they might be receiving from you, your energy or whatever, it's worth a conversation. It's worth making time to, hey, sorry about that. Or what did you think mommy meant by that? I heard myself, I was really sarcastic, and you're only 4 years old, so you might not catch the double entendre there. And then at the same time, there's also those moments where you just let that live. You just let it live. And who knows what they picked up. We can't control everything, right? There's both. But I'm giving in like never before because of that. Because I'm a mother, I'm giving into the simple, the easy, the flow more than ever, like never before. And so my coaching, although my framework hasn't changed, right? The way that I approach just lightening our load across the board and finding our clarity, wading through the clutter, to find that peace, right? That we're seeking, then, and really self-actualization that we're seeking, then, I'm still kind of following along those frameworks, but now it's like, whoa, I see how we can still do this as mothers. And so how can we change the game of motherhood too? Because I don't know about you, but for a while there, I was without a village. I'd moved away from my village. I'd moved away from my home with kids, had kids actually. I didn't have kids before I moved. So I'm away from my village. I'm establishing my family, right? Got married. We're doing our thing as building, making a home. And all this is happening on our own shoulders without like a village that just is built in because it's family and it's your mom and she'll come over and kiss her grandbabies and give you a few minutes to go do something. Um, Take a nap, especially in the early days. And I didn't have that. And so I really did have to get really clear on, okay, what's going to be a priority, because I'm most likely going to choose nap over anything else, especially in the beginning. I had to sleep. I had to sleep when that baby slept, and I didn't always. I didn't always. And then when I didn't, and I didn't take a nap all day, I felt it by the end of the day. So I knew, like, I can't do that so much all the time. I've got to find my happy place, my happy medium. Some days I'll skip a nap because it feels like I don't really need one, or this feels really, it's got my attention. I'm energized toward it. I'm going to do that, right? This is where my wavelength is. This is where my inspo is coming from. Let me work on that. So then maybe no nap. And then there's days that maybe after a day like that, where yeah, a nap is crucial. But see how that even is a flow. And I'm moving with the flow of my energy. I'm listening to my moods, right? I'm feeling into how my body wants to move right now. And it might not want to move at all. Might need a nap. But that is basically how I'm kind of helping moms change. So I'm starting with myself. I'm the guinea pig. I'm choosing to do what I can do because if it's easy, it's simple, it's honest, it's effortless, then I know it's true. I know it's right. I know it's for me. And so that's where I'm going. But as I'm even doing that, I'm still taking the biggest risks ever of my life as a business owner. And probably not as a mom, because I'm just kind of early stages. There'll be risks I take as a mom for infinity till I'm dead. And there's especially big risks, big investments I'm making into myself and my business's growth, that I'm making right now, like bigger than ever before. So while all this is happening, the simplifying and the uncomplicating of my life as both entrepreneur and mother, it's also coming in tandem with me like wanting to expand more, be more, and do more, right? And not do more on my own shoulders, but just have that bigger impact. And I will tell you this, motherhood is so messy that it has me sometimes questioning, like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get this over here? Or if only the business would pick up or pull its weight here in this regard, right? Pull its weight more so that I don't have to do all this and I can focus more over here. It's kind of like this constant pendulum swinging, right? I'm literally looking at both, and everything at any time um, needs me. And so as much as we have systems that help quiet the need for us 24/7, help soften maybe the jarring surprise of like, oh, whoa, wasn't expecting this today, helps, right? Wouldn't we say that any of that helps? Um, I'm just literally choosing to embrace the mess. Like I said, with dishes in the sink maybe a little too long, my mail stack not getting opened. If I know that it's probably not that important, I open what is important, all that stuff. Auto pay on my bills, things like that. We're doing all those, and that ultimately, however you're living in survival mode or literally thriving over here, that's a system that you created for yourself. And we're just never going to stop being mother. Let me see if there's any chats here. Okay. Hi everyone. Thanks for coming on. And if you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, we're just winding down. We're in the final stretch of this masterclass. Like I said, I have to go pick up my kids. So I have to head out. Um Activity. So not a journal prompt, but food for thought. Um, there are a couple things that came to my mind when I thought, okay, what would really help you seal the deal, this idea of trusting yourself, trusting your instincts. That's the ultimate mompreneur advice that I could give right now. Trust your instincts. There's something else to that I touched on a little bit, honing those instincts by informing the instincts, reading up on things that interest you. For me, it's a lot about parenting. I read a lot about homeschooling before I ultimately did it. And even in the early days, and we're still in the early days of homeschooling my son, but uh, educating myself on kind of the why of homeschooling so that I could fall back on like some assuredness in my decision, because it's you when you are pressed for time and you're like, how am I going to fit this lesson in? And it takes a lot longer than maybe you think it should, then you really question if you are cut out for this. You question, like, am I the right teacher? You're just a learning coach. Okay, you're not the teacher if you don't want to call yourself that, or you are, whatever is what it is. So like, am I teaching? Am I the right person to teach my son? I will tell you this, I've stayed the course, and I even had my son give me my little signpost of confirmation along my path. And he said, "You're the perfect teacher." And it just was his most innocent, like most just honest thing he could have said to me right then, you're the perfect teacher. Just randomly, like he was kind of talking himself to himself about something and he was saying it out loud. And I got to hear that. And I thought, warmed my heart to at least be doing it right for now, right? At least to be, I don't know, to to have affected that change on him, or that impression, that at least I'm guiding you somewhat correctly, because you're letting me know that it feels good for you right now. Okay, so that's what I want. I want it to feel good for him. I want it to feel good for me. We both want to go the homeschooling route as long as it's feeling good. And we are testing out kind of those summer camp kind of things, summer school, that idea of like, what would it be like to be in school? Do you want to go back to school, or is homeschool what you want right now? What feels better for you right now? So I don't want to rest on my laurels there in any regard. But back to the activity. What we want to get good at is trusting our instincts. So um, at any point where you're kind of faced with these decisions, because we talked about just having decisions all day, every day, any time of day, there's all these decisions. And for me, I'm asking the question, what do I want to get good at? What do I want to master in my role here as mother and entrepreneur, in my roles, and in my role as partner, in my role as friend, in my role as, I mean, geez, name it, driver. I want to be a great driver because I don't want to get in, I want my kids to be in a safe car. Things like that, right? Even as we're driving, I'm kind of honing that skill of like being a more defensive, watching what's around me kind of a driver, right? I don't want to be driving on autopilot with my kids in the car. So anyway, all that to say, in our roles, like what do I want to get good at? And particularly as a mother, what do I want to get good at? I want to get good at being there for them. And in this moment, when I'm faced with, okay, what do they need from me? Or what's the tantrum about? What are they whining about? What are they asking for? Uh, I want to get good at different things at different times. I want to get good at helping them. What's a good example? Not be snackers all the time, like snack all day. And then at the same time, what does wanting to snack all day mean for them? What does it say about their last meal and what they actually needed versus what they got? Did they just get a bunch of sugar? Did they come home after, eating a bunch of crap and then they're needing like a more sustainable, like hearty snack? Something more filling, more protein. I mean, see how all of this kind of lines up? Well, that's happening too in business. It's what do I want to get good at? Well, I want to get good at, I don't really have any interest in getting really good at text and thumbnails. I mean, I want to maybe be better. I definitely do, but it's probably not going to be my wheelhouse. Maybe, I don't know, who knows? Anything's possible. But I would love to hire that out. And so I'm not going to spend time trying to get good at something that ultimately is not in my direction. Because I could take the off ramp real fast and go learn about text and thumbnails. And I did. If you're on YouTube, you know what, if you know what I mean here. And I kind of went on that tangential kind of escapade and thought, well, how can I make this a little bit better, 1% better, this text and thumbnail business? uh, I think it's worth putting a little attention on it. So at least it informs kind of my journey going forward enough to be dangerous, right? And then I get back on, and then I get back on the highway to my dreams, not, I don't want to stop over too long in something that I don't ultimately want to brag about being good at. Mm, no thanks. I think there's other things I'd rather be good at. So is there something there for you? Like, right? Let that be your guide. So in the answer to that question, let that be your guide. Um, there is a next step that I will just obviously introduce you to because there are two options you have right now. As we talk about this idea of clarity and clarity on just our direction, first and foremost, can we just say we talked about over mind before matter, mindset over everything is what I was going to say. Mindset over everything. Like we just talked about that, like mind before matter. Thoughts become things. When you just want clarity on that, you just want to make sure that you're in the right direction, right? You're at least on the right highway for where you want to go. We can do a complimentary clarity call. And I'll put the link there. What you do though, have to do is also apply to get on to get to the booking page. And why that is because I do want to know a little bit about you. What are you up to? What are you doing? Where do you want to, at this point, what clarity do you have on where you want to go? I'd love to hear what that is for you. So there is an application in order to book that complimentary call, but I'd love to chat. I'd love to chat with you about more of this. It literally fuels my fire. So just know you're not wasting anybody's time when you book a call with me. On that same call, you have the option to sign up for the mastermind. So this is my mastermind for entrepreneur moms. If you also want to take the next step and I guess, stay in the support of having clarity through the long haul. right? As you're building a legacy, not just a business, like literally creating a business that allows you to live your dream life, creating the space for it all, for you to have it all. Um, that would be done in the mastermind, because there are a few components in the mastermind. There's the accountability piece, accountability to you staying really focused on the single most important thing. Because should you only have 20 minutes or 2 hours on a given day, let's do the most important thing first. And then, right, how can this occupation of yours, this business that you're building, lend itself to creating um, a really enjoyable motherhood journey, because you've got the financial independence to do for your kids what you always wanted to do with them, to start living the dreams out that you want for them all, and giving them the experiences that you wish you had as a kid. Anything, right? If they have a desire you want to fulfill, so that they can just experience it all. And in that, there's kind of this joy of like letting them, being the one who's allowing for that, right? And and showing the way, making the way, being the provision along the way, obviously, as you co-create with God. And so there's more nuance in how we're going to continue to stay on our path for ourselves, our highest iteration in this lifetime. That was, I don't know, I don't play video games, but it reminds me of back in the day when I did. Super Mario Brothers, Montezuma's Revenge. What was another one I used to play? Pac-Man, of course. Who doesn't love Pac-Man? It's when you win a level, it's like winner, right? Or if you lose, it's game over. We literally at every level just want to be the winner of this particular level. Winner enough to where we're ascending to the next one. Well, in this lifetime, I believe we came here with some idea of how we want to ultimately go out. And I believe it is as enlightened as we possibly can be. And so if that is a goal, then that definitely takes some time. But again, this is the deeper side of business. And not everybody wants to go that deep. Not everybody wants to let business be the tool that makes them a a more empowered, more powerful, um, less fear mongering version of themselves. Um, Less limited, less scarcity thinking. Like, you not everybody wants to leave that place, but some of us do. And if you do on your behalf, as well as your clients, as well as your kids, and see how it really does, the impact starts to grow from there. Um, See how it's a little bit uh, different, right? It would require this identity of from you that can step into that and hold space for herself to show up as that, because you've done the work to know what that feels like, and to see the signposts along the way, and to be led from within forward towards your dreams. That is definitely done inside the mastermind for entrepreneur moms. And so I'm so like just blown away from the feedback already. And as I put together this new cohort, like just the possibilities. So I'm super excited for what's to come. Hopefully you are too. I'll put the link here, minimalistentrepreneur.club/MEM for the mastermind if you want to book a call or apply for the mastermind. You'll see the steps to get there. But I'll put that link below, and I will see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being on live. If none of the above fits, at least please like and subscribe to my channel. That's one way to just support the channel and support the mission. Since, we've got a lot of moms to talk to across the world. So thank you for coming on. Let me know if any of this resonated, and if so, what exactly. I'd love to hear from you.